Growing up in Minnesota was complicated. In some ways, it probably looked like a typical childhood, but if I'm being honest, I really struggled. I was diagnosed with a bunch of different mental health issues from a young age, put on all sorts of medications. And honestly, it affected every part of my life. On top of that, I got bullied all throughout school, which just made it that much harder to ever feel like I belonged anywhere. And the winters, oh man, I hated them even before I understood why. I remember being in ice skating lessons as a kid, and every time I got off the ice, my feet were so cold. My dad used to cup my feet in his hands and blow warm air on them, trying to warm them up. I'd be crying because the pain was so bad. Itching, burning, it was horrible. Back then, nobody knew what was going on. Turns out I had something called cold urticaria, but I didn't get diagnosed until my early 20s. Most doctors hadn't even heard of it. There's no cure, no real treatment, just avoid the cold. Allergy medication didn't help me at all. So it wasn't just mental health struggles, it was physical too. Minnesota winters really caused me pain. So when I finally decided to leave, it wasn't just about starting fresh. It was about escaping something that genuinely made my life harder. I was first put into therapy when I was 10 years old. The classic solution was therapy and medication. So that's what happened. I don't even remember if therapy helped back then. But what I do remember is all the side effects. I always felt weird, like my brain wasn't really mine. As I got older, the therapy helped more, but it always felt like I was surviving, not living. I tried everything, different meds, supplements, you name it. At one point, I was spending hundreds of dollars every month just on supplements, thinking maybe this would be the thing that helped. Sometimes I'd think I feel better, but looking back, it was probably just the placebo effects. I tried all types of therapy: CBT, DBT, EMDR. EMDR helped a little more, but nothing really fixed the problem. It felt like I was just patching myself up, never really healing. Eventually, I gave up on meds. I gave up on supplements, and I was still depressed. And I wasn't thriving. That's when I started praying more, asking God to show me the way. I kept coming back to Genesis 1:29, where God talks about a plant-based diet. I figured, why not? So I made a deal with God. If you heal me and I don't have these issues anymore, then I will stay on this diet. But if I don't get better, then I'm gonna go back to eating animals. So I tried a raw food plant-based diet for 30 days. By the end of the 30 days, my depression and anxiety and autism symptoms were completely gone. For the first time in my life, I felt free. I felt amazing. I felt like a new me. It wasn't just about weight loss. This was about finally feeling good in my own body and mind. Nothing else I tried, no therapist, no medication, no supplement, gave me that feeling of freedom. Of course, life didn't magically become perfect. I still had real life happening. I had 2 dogs, and my oldest, Delilah, was sick for years. Constant vet visits, tests, unknowns. I eventually found out it was kidney disease after spending hundreds of dollars on tests that showed nothing. They told me she had 6 months to live. She ended up making it over a year, but it was emotionally exhausting. And after Delilah passed, it didn't stop there. Not long after, Winston, my other dog, started showing signs of arthritis. I took him to the vet and he was diagnosed with it. From then on, I was taking him in once a month for arthritis shots, just trying to manage his pain and keep him comfortable. But then, the last time I brought him in, they suggested running more tests. And I agreed, thinking maybe they'd just check how his arthritis was progressing. But when the results came back, it wasn't just arthritis. They told me Winston had kidney disease, and they recommended making a decision within the next couple of days. Honestly, I made the decision the same day. I wasn't going to keep letting him suffer. He was clearly not doing well, and I knew dragging it out would have been for me, not for him. So I let him go peacefully. That whole season of life, it taught me something really big. I can control some things, like my health, my choices, but other things, I just have to walk through. And after going through all of that, it became clear I needed to make one last big change. I needed to leave Minnesota and start over. When I first started thinking about moving, it was back when my dogs were still alive. And Arizona was actually the place I had my heart set on. I found this really cute townhouse that seemed like a great deal. I even called the leasing office, got all the details, asked all of my questions, and honestly, it felt like a solid option. But when I started calling moving companies, that's when reality hit me. The quotes I was getting were anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000 just to move my stuff. And that wasn't including gas, food, or hotel stays along the way. Plus, I had 2 dogs, so flying wasn't even an option. I'd have to make a long road trip, and the more I thought about it, the more it felt like the whole thing would just be way too stressful. Not just for me, but especially for my dogs. And then I started hearing about the water issues in Arizona. I read about this town that literally had its water cut off. They had to sue just to get access to water again. And I thought, ugh, if they can just cut off a whole town from water, I'm not about to move there. Between the costs, the stress, and the water problems, I decided Arizona just wasn't a smart choice. Then, after my dogs passed, I figured maybe I could move to Florida. I really just wanted to escape the brutal cold winters of Minnesota, especially with my cold urticaria. But I just couldn't find any place that I felt comfortable with. The rent in safer neighborhoods were ridiculously high, and I didn't want to end up stuck in an area where I didn't feel safe just to afford rent. So Florida was off the table too. That's when I started looking at Texas. At first, I found 2 places I really liked. Both seemed like solid options. But then at the last minute, I came across this place where rent was actually under $1,000. I checked out the crime rates, looked at nearby stores, gyms, and just everything made sense. All the places I cared about: Whole Foods, Target, local parks, the gym, everything was close by that I felt I needed. Everything just lined up. I didn't fly out to see the place first. By the time you add up a round trip flight, hotel, rental car, food, it would have cost me over $1,000 just to go look around. And people move across the country without visiting first all the time. So I prayed about it, and every door stayed open. It felt like God was giving me the clear green light, so I went for it. I signed the lease, packed up my life, and I made the move. Once I decided on Texas, I looked around my apartment and it hit me. I had way too much stuff, way more than I needed. I made a decision right there. I'm not dragging all of this into my new life. So I decided to become a minimalist. My version of it, anyway. My goal was to get rid of 99% of the stuff I owned. I was moving from a 1,000 square foot apartment with 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and a garage, down to a 400 square foot studio apartment with no garage. I didn't want to feel cramped or boxed in my new place. The garage was a nightmare. Boxes piled up from years of impulse Amazon buys. So I tackled it first, then the rest of the apartment. I switched to a hammock instead of a bed. I gave away my couch. I downsized my kitchen stuff and only kept the essentials. Some things were easy to let go of. Other things were emotional. But the more I let go, the freer I felt. I was finally creating space for peace. The move itself went smooth. I kept it simple, just the essentials. I got here and I loved it. The area felt safe, the place was cozy. I had Whole Foods nearby, parks, and my local climbing gym. Everything I needed. I wasn't ready for the weather though. I expected heat, but not humidity. And the flash floods, the random downpours, yeah, that was a big surprise. But overall, it's been good. Moving in took me less than an hour. I was unpacked and settled quickly because, well, I didn't bring much. I kept life simple, and it paid off. The first couple of weeks were rough, emotionally. My friend left after helping me move, and then it hit me. I'm alone. I'd never moved this far on my own before, but honestly, I don't regret it for a second. This was my first real move. I'd lived at home throughout college, stayed in Minnesota after, but this was a brand new chapter, and I felt free. I go out weekly now, just to explore. I made a list of places to visit, and unlike Minnesota, I'm actually checking them off. I've already been to a bunch of spots. I even made some new friends, which I didn't expect so soon. And yeah, not every day is perfect, but overall, I feel lighter, happier, healthier. Minnesota will always feel like home in some way. But here in Texas, I finally feel like I'm living, not just surviving. Moving wasn't just about a new location. It was about choosing peace, choosing health, and choosing myself. And I don't know where life's going to take me from here, but I'm finally excited to find out. Oh, yeah.
Very chill. Very chill. Very chill.
That would be fun. Nice. That's the way to do it. taking a picture. Okay.